Are you buying your first turntable or looking to upgrade? Well, don't buy one yet, at least not until you've watched this video through to the end. Over the last few months, I've had quite a few turntables come through my review room. And there are still a couple more I've spent some time with that I do want to talk about, but I'll save that for a future video. What I want to talk about today is if you're looking to buy your first turntable, or maybe you have a turntable now, but it's old, maybe it's cheap, or maybe it's on its last legs, then this is the video for you, and that's what I want to talk about. If you have one of these turntables, this probably isn't for you, but don't go away because I'm sure that you have advice that those who are watching could benefit from. That's what the comments are for. Anyway, there's a lot to cover here, so let's jump right in. And I've broken this down to 5 things. Now, this seems like a no-brainer, but everybody's budget is different. And all of the turntables that I've been reviewing over the last few months are all those mid-level turntables for those folks that are upgrading from, say, their first turntable, their entry-level turntable, to mid-level. And mid-level being anywhere from $500 to $1,000. But that doesn't mean you have to jump right in and spend $500 to $1,000. You can get a great turntable for around $250. U-Turn Audio, that's one of the first that springs to mind. What I would suggest is staying away from the all-in-one solutions, those all-in-one turntables. And those are typically the ones that, they catch your eye. They look like a suitcase and they're really cool looking, and they have the speakers that are, built right into them. Now, I do want to add a caveat to that though. Even though I say, stay away from them or suggest staying away from them, if that's what your budget is and that's all you can afford, then by all means, go that route. I mean, this is all about the joy of vinyl. It's about getting into vinyl records. It's about enjoying vinyl records. The only reason I say stay away from them is a few months from now, if you purchase one, you're probably going to fall in love with the experience of vinyl and you're going to want to upgrade. And then you're going to start this whole process all over again. So I'm just suggesting, start it out in a way that you won't be looking to change later on. So if it's at all possible and you can wait, save your money until you have around $250 and then start shopping around. Like I said, there are some excellent options out there. There are many turntables, too many to mention really right now and right here. That would take a whole different episode, probably a couple episodes actually. So, reach out to me on the website. I'm always happy to help and lend suggestions. And I would just ask you a few questions and I'll be able to direct you to the right turntable for you. Okay, number 2. Now, this one is very important. And when I say very important, it is very important. And what I'm talking about is a turntable with a solid bass, also called the plinth. With the vinyl playback experience, it's all about reducing vibrations and resonance. So if you tap on your plinth like that, and you hear that tap through your speakers, well, that's going to be a problem. If the plinth is made out of, cheap plastic or it's hollow, it's going to lead to sound issues at some point. A good example of what I mean by a hollow sounding plinth is the AT LP5. Now, I'm not dissing the LP5. I actually owned it about, I think, 8 years ago, and I had read great reviews on it. I think it's discontinued now. But the thing with the LP5 is if you tapped on that plinth, you would hear those vibrations directly through the speakers, and that always annoyed me. And there is no way that vibrations and issues with resonance was not reaching your stylus, which leads me to number 3. Now, I can't say enough about tone arm performance. Your tone arm should move easily back and forth without any friction preventing it from doing so. And when I say friction, I'm talking about static friction and some of the other forces that are affecting your tone arm's performance. Now, I use the Wally Skater from Wally Tools, but it's not inexpensive. And one way you can check this, though, is to balance the tone arm horizontally in a zero gravity position by adjusting the counterweight until the tone arm floats level. Then just gently blow on the tone arm from the side. It should move freely with minimal resistance. You also want a tone arm that will allow you to adjust both VTF and anti-skate. Both of these are crucial. As far as VTF goes, all you need is one of those VTF gauges that you can find on Amazon and a bunch of other places. They're very affordable, and I'll provide a link to the one that I use. You really can't trust that the manufacturer has it right and has it set correctly when they ship it out to you. And the same goes for anti-skate. Now, I will say that U-Turn's Orbit turntables do not allow you to adjust anti-skate. They set it internally before shipping it out. Now, I did check using the Wally skater, and they are set absolutely correct. I mean, they are exactly where you want them to be, so that's a great thing. Having the ability to adjust for it is important. And I do believe that their top line or their top turntable, the Orbit Theory, does allow you to adjust for anti-skate, which is cool. And none of this, absolutely none of this would mean anything if at the very end of that tone arm you have a very cheap cartridge or a cheap stylus. So when you're looking at specs and you see names like Ortofon or Sumico or Audio-Technica, chances are you're starting out with a decent stylus and you'll probably be able to upgrade it at some point, which leads me to number 4. You want to be able to upgrade. And some of the things that come to mind is upgrading your cartridge, maybe the platter, the tone arm, anything or any number of things that will allow you to upgrade to adjust your sound or to adjust for better sound. That could mean having a preamp that you're able to shut on, you're able to shut off when you don't want to use it. Having the ability to upgrade will make a world of difference, and it'll also save you money. If you don't have a turntable that will allow you to adjust or replace at least the stylus, then the only option available to you is buying an entirely new turntable, and again, you're starting from scratch. If possible, start with one that allows you to change at least the stylus at first. Now, I say if possible because it might not always be possible. We all have budgets to work with and things that we can and can't afford. But knowing what your expenses may be in the future will help you decide, what to buy now. So it's all about catering your vinyl playback experience to what you're able to do and what you're able to afford. And speaking about future expenses, you also have this. Now, what am I talking about here? I'm talking about phono stages, preamps, speakers, and a bunch of other things that you can upgrade your sound with. And this kind of goes back to something I said earlier when I talked about budget and being able to afford a turntable. And I was talking about those all-in-one solutions and to stay away from them. And that's only because you can't upgrade anything. You're not able to add peripherals for the most part to those type of solutions. You're really stuck with what you get. And all of that convenience and maybe those aesthetics that come with those solutions, they all come with a loss in sound quality. What you really want is the ability to connect that turntable at some point. You don't have to do it immediately. You can just go to powered speakers. But you want the ability someday to connect it maybe to a phono stage if you really get into this, a dedicated phono stage or a preamp or an integrated amplifier. And like I said, many turntables today do come with a built-in phono stage, which they also call a preamp. But just make sure that you can shut that off and bypass it, because someday you may want to bypass it and just buy, an upgraded phono stage. And upgraded external phono stages can make the world of difference. Keep in mind these 5 things and you won't go wrong. I'll even throw in a bonus. Read reviews and also read articles from experts. You might watch some videos about the turntable you're thinking about purchasing. If you do that with the 5 things that I mentioned while reading those reviews or watching YouTube videos, at least you'll be able to understand what it is the reviewer is talking about, and you can assess whether it is something that you care about. Because remember, reviews are very subjective in a lot of ways, especially if the reviewer is talking about sound quality. So just keep in mind the 5 things that I mentioned, and you don't have to think about sound quality so much, because if you get those right, you're in good shape, either currently or in the future. Even when I say that I recommend a turntable, take what I say and see if it suits your needs or fits your budget level. Nobody can tell you what you need to buy. Nobody can tell you what you should buy. All that matters here really is that you're happy with your decision. I can only tell you what I recommend from my experience, but my experience doesn't need to be yours. A turntable is an investment in your musical enjoyment, so making an informed choice or an informed decision when it comes to buying one will pay off in the end. So I'd love to hear your comments about all of this, so please do so. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care of yourself and enjoy your records.